everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. This week, we had an update on Roadmap Roundup talking about the first implementation of sort of a true reputation system in Star Citizen. So I thought we'd take an episode here. First, I want to apologize we didn't have an episode last week. Honestly, there's just like nothing to talk about. And there's just like no interest at all in Star Citizen. Then we had a little bit of a busier week. But yeah, this week we got an update on Reputation, and it seems pretty interesting, but obviously very early. So I thought today's episode would be cool if we did a more of like a theory crafting kind of episode where we talked about Reputation, what we know of it right now, and what we can do in the future. So we'll have to see what people say. For me, I see Reputation as a very solo experience, right? You go out, you do a mission. Whether you're doing it with other people, the reputation is applied to you, the individual, right? I obviously stream on Twitch, and the show is done on Twitch. So if you guys are just seeing Answer the Call for the first time, or you've been watching it for a while on YouTube, you can join the show starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Sundays, on twitch.tv/SaltEMike. And all the calls are done through Discord, so discord.gg/SaltEMike. And yeah, so we have people come on live and talk about it. So without further ado, I think personally, just before we jump into our callers here, it's very simple, right? So the reputation that they're talking about, and I'll quickly show it on stream here, is very just foundational, right? So it's working with the mission givers. They mention the idea of once you complete a task, you might see additional missions show up. So like possible mission chains, which we've sort of seen work in Star Citizen with some mission givers, and then they kind of faded away. Mission givers have been very problematic over the years. And then I see a lot of negatives that come with failing missions in this post here as well, which is interesting because I think most people fail missions in Star Citizen because of bugs, not necessarily because they're bad at the game or anything like that, right? So I see a lot of punishments, not necessarily a lot of positives. So we'll have to see what happens with it in its actual implementation in game. But again, very simple. They also mention organizations, but persistent like NPC organizations, and the fact that your reputation will now carry through patches. So if you worked with Rudo, let's say, for example, in 3.11, maybe that reputation will carry over to 3.12 and beyond. So kind of interesting there. But all right, let's jump in and bring our first caller, our first caller in, Jab Loca. Jab, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, welcome, man. How you doing?
Fine. Been playing other games a little bit lately. Checked out the video when it opened, but that's about it.
Okay. Well, what do you think about this reputation thing?
Slightly optimistic, but also worried a lot.
Okay. Why? One thing I asked people was, think of a game that has really good reputation that you've played before as well. So,
Of course.
Feel free to start out with that. I should have mentioned that earlier.
I've played Star Trek Online, World of Warcraft, those types of games.
Mm-hmm.
And that reputation system is, well, the basic reputation system we all know and not necessarily love. For example, the reputation system in World of Warcraft has changed a lot over the years because, well, it's an old game. At first, you could like grind ads for reputation and do certain raids to earn reputation, etc.
Sure.
And well, you could earn items and then turn them in for extra reputation, that kind of stuff. That's where my worry lies, because I'm worried that for say Ninetales reputation, who knows? You just hand in certain engine parts and you earn rep with that, or you can just buy them on a stock market or something. That you can just buy UEC to buy those parts to earn rep.
Well,
That's
what
where my
about
worry lies.
sure, and that was one thing I actually wanted to mention in my intro too, was that I feel that reputation could be the great equalizer between the very pay to win buying of spaceships and locking down. I don't know if I want them to lock down content necessarily, but opening doors through playing the game, which would the doors would essentially be locked until you can open them. But yeah, I think that it could be the great equalizer personally. And I see your concerns, but I think you're looking at it sort of one-sided. Like, okay, I can earn rep with the Ninetales by selling them engines, but you most likely would earn more rep with the Ninetales by doing missions for them.
That would be great. That would be great if that
Yeah.
was the case, or will be the case. Yeah, I can see it as an equalizer, but I don't think ships are going to be locked behind rep. I do think ship parts
I
are
don't
going to
mean
be locked
ships.
behind rep.
I don't
Yeah.
mean ships would be locked behind it, because I think that ship has sailed, right? Ships are sold for real
Yeah.
money. Like there's nothing stopping that. It is what it is, and that's what I think. Why I think the great equalizer could be content and things to experience will require reputation. So even though Johnny Moneybags over here bought 12 Idrises and has every ship in the game, he still has to play the game to experience the same content that you do. Although it might be easier possibly for him, but we don't know.
I would like certain missions to be locked behind rep. Like, this giant Idris is here, only the most trusted / elite people we know, aka you, because you're, say, exalted with let's say Ninetales again for again, yeah. And that would be great. Like, and that should be like the top #1 mission for Ninetales, for example.
Yeah.
And it should earn you a lot, not necessarily UEC. It could be a unique power plant or unique whatever. But I remember they didn't want you to have like legendary items, but we already had that day one with chip components. We have grade A.
Yeah, there's already grading systems. Like it's the same thing, but they just gave it a different name. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So I don't understand it. Whatever. So, and I don't mind that because it's something to look towards. So I don't mind that at all. And
have you ever played Elite Dangerous?
No, I'm not really into Elite.
Me neither, but I know the engineer system is very much like that, right? Where there's like these special components that you have to earn a lot of rep with these engineers, and then you can get these really sweet components, and they call them like, I have engineered this and that. I've heard people that play it say, but
that would be great, especially with the crafting they keep talking about these days, which I'm hopeful for. And way down the line, I hope you can just earn like a factory, and factory node or blueprint, so you can build your size 2 grade A components, for example.
Yeah.
And we shall see. And I'm slightly optimistic, but the current limit is you can't earn items in game through missions because of tech limitations. So I hope like next year we can actually earn our items in game, except for just UEC, because that would be boring after a month.
It is boring already. I think it's one of the things that makes the game somewhat boring now, is that inability in variety of the missions, right? So the inability to craft and the inability for you to do a mission and earn something other than watching your UEC marker go up, right? A unique item like the Vandal Mask was so exhilarating because finally I did something in the game and earned an item. Like, as simple as that is, it was such an epic moment, right? So I think one of the best wins for a reputation system would be the ability to buy an item or the receiving of an item after finishing a quest line Like, we've all played MMOs that have quest
Exactly.
lines that, it's just...
Or unlock a ship terminal that you can only see when you earned enough rep. I think that could be a nice intermediate, right? Like,
What do you mean by that?
um, say Twitch has a trade console right next to her, and you can
Mm-hmm.
see when you earn rep, like Revered, Exalt example, you can buy these ship skins or these components when you're Revered with her or Exalted with her. It's true. And then you can, buy them with UEC as well, but only if you revert, for example.
Sure.
So you earn them by doing missions, but you still earn UEC, but you can buy them with credits in combination with reputation.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. Um, I'd like to. I almost would like to see a way to not to reinvent the wheel, but I'd like to see them do something interesting and unique, where all of that stuff is pretty much in every game we've ever played, right? Uh, can you envision a way for Star Citizen to do it differently? Because they seem to like to do that.
Yeah, well, if they reinvent the wheel, hopefully it's not a crappy wheel,
Yeah.
but
Hopefully
and
it's a
it's gonna
circle.
take and if it's and if they reinvent the wheel, it's gonna take another 3-4 years. I just know that. So just look at a game that does it well and just copy that, or at least improve on that. They don't have to reinvent the wheel to me.
Yeah. I guess a better way to ask that question would be, do you want to see them try and do anything different? Or do you think the simple reputation systems that we see all throughout video games is good enough?
No, not at all. I don't want World of Warcraft grinding ever, 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 ever again. I don't want to grind certain NPC ships or whatever to earn an item. Like, to be tied to missions, that's fine by
Okay.
me. But grind, yeah,
So you want more story based, sort of, right? Like, not story based necessarily, but more quest lines. So I go here, I talk to this guy, I do missions for him, and at the end of that quest line, and hopefully those missions were different and dynamic and kind of fun.
yeah, exactly.
And
Like,
and at the
and
end I get the reward instead of go here,
yes,
kill 20 frogs, and I'll give you your reward, right? Is that what you mean?
yeah, I don't want that again. And I don't think it fits with Star Citizen. Like,
It could, collect X amount of bounties. I mean, what was the Vandal Mask? Kill 50 players, right? It was very much
yeah,
like
that's
that, but it
true.
was fun.
True, that's true. But Auroras would be the low level NPCs, I guess. But how would you tie that in with a starter ship? That I wonder, because killing 50 Auroras with an Aurora is okay to do. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's you need low level missions as well with that. But I don't know how you tie that in with, say, starter ships, whatever that means.
Okay, you bring up something that I hope more people bring up during this.
Yeah,
And I
how
should
do
have
you tie that in?
because that is the most important thing that is missing from Star Citizen currently. That when somebody comes to my channel, whether it's Twitch or YouTube, and asks, is this game worth it? I currently say no most of the time, right? I ask a few questions like, hey,
Yeah,
have you played alphas before, that kind of stuff. But most of the time the answer is no, and the reason being is because anybody can do everything with every ship, right? Like, I can fly to XYZ place, I can do XYZ mission, and regardless if I have an Aurora or a freelancer or whatever, right? The idea of starting with an Aurora and having almost everything available to every player at the start of a patch, or whenever the next wipe would be very basic, right? You're level 1. Everyone's at level 1. So the current delivery missions, for example, which a lot of people are not very happy with because the payouts are low for a lot of work, right? But if you did a bunch of them, earned reputation with the Ling Shipment Company, and then got hired or offered jobs from, I can't remember some of the other companies' names, but for further travel and more money and cooler missions, that would be neat, right? So you move from your Aurora, where you're grinding these delivery missions and maybe some side bounty kind of stuff, right? Smaller missions, and then you move your way into something bigger with a bigger ship and things like that. And maybe, like you said, maybe those missions can offer a rental ship or something like that. So, yeah, I'm kind of interested in what you think about that.
And a rep system can be a good first start for, a start. You start with 0 rep.
Yeah.
So you can earn your way up. That's the best starting position you can have at the moment, at least for this stage of the game.
Yeah, because the biggest thing that's missing is the starter player experience. Most people have just the starter package, and the current experience of Star Citizen is insanely grindy in order to experience the purchase of your own ship in game that is an upgrade from a starter ship, right? Like the idea of going from an Aurora MR to a Avenger Titan is not the jump that you would make because it wouldn't change your experience. So the idea of jumping from the Aurora MR into a Titan means that the types of missions that you were doing with the MR, you can no longer do with them, and you need the Titan to complete the more difficult missions. I think that is where reputation can change the starter experience, because if you're failing missions with the MR, you're losing rep. So you're going to need to upgrade, right?
Yes, but that's also like a bigger problem with Star Citizen. I don't really want to talk about that right now. Like,
yeah,
it's also trading, because like the upgrade from 2 UEC SCU and to 8 or for example is not
no
big
difference
enough.
Yeah,
but that's another story.
But
yeah,
it's not.
Yeah.
This is where I really love this reputation thing, is because it's not. Because if you have it, hear me out here. Hear me out. I have an Aurora MR, and I'm doing Ling shipment deliveries, and let's play pretend here as well a little bit, and say that the exterior cargo area of the Aurora works. Or let's just use the 100i, right? Another starter ship. That the cargo areas are actually functional and I can place boxes in them. So I'm flying around on my 100i, and I'm doing deliveries and stuff like that. And then because I've earned rep with these companies, they trust me with more valuable cargo. It doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be more cargo, but it's more valuable cargo. Therefore, the delivery
what's missing at the moment.
Costs more, right?
Yeah.
So that's where reputation can fix a lot of the problems that we currently have in the game.
Yeah, like a bigger SCU box, for example, with more valuable item, because now we only have those 1 SCU boxes.
Yep.
Imagine one big 8 SCU box with like a giant, say, component that's worth a lot that you have to transport.
Exactly. Or just like you don't even know what it is. It's just sensitive. Get it there. Like now it's a timed mission, right? Like we have seen we've seen images of these volatile cargo, all sorts of things, right? So all these little pieces are coming together, but I think its reputation is the glue.
Yes, but also with, for example, with refining, if you are like way up high in the mining guild, say your refining time gets lower, like, or you get more pure items, for example.
Yeah.
Like it can be that simple.
Yeah, maybe they give
It
you
doesn't
the better like
better
experimental
porches.
processes, right? Because they showed
Yes.
us processing. There was all different types of processes. So yeah, like perks are big, and this is all stuff that needs to not be monetized. You started out your call with that. If they monetize
That's what my
any of
word.
this
Yeah.
stuff, it's a waste.
It's exactly. It's a waste, and then nothing means anything. You can
Agreed.
just buy UEC on eBay and just earn your way to the top. Well, earn your way, buy your way to the top, and nothing matters anymore.
Yeah,
Then why play this game?
agreed. Agreed.
So that's where my worry lies. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I think.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I appreciate your call. I think we got through like a lot of stuff. The first caller is super important because we kind of lay the groundwork for what everybody is gonna kind of respond to, and I think we tried to hit a little bit of everything there. But I'm curious what other people have to say. So thank you, Jab. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Talk to you soon. All right, and our next caller is a very regular caller, Dr. Introvertitius. Also, before we bring on Doc, you guys, if you're not comfortable coming on the show, things like that, I know not everybody has a great mic, whatever, right? You can use hashtag ATC and leave a tweet at me as well if you want, at SaltEMike, and we'll add that to the show also, okay? Hey, what's up, Doc? How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm fine. I'm good.
Awesome. So, were you listening to the first call?
Yeah, I was in chat for that one.
Okay, cool. So, what do you think about this whole thing? Let's start out with, what do you think about its initial implementation and what they're kind of showing here, mentioning mission givers and all that kind of stuff.
It's interesting having that sort of, like, you have to work for that thing to unlock it, almost.
Have you ever used the mission givers?
Not at all. Not really.
Do you not use them because you don't care, or do you not use them because they were pretty buggy?
Yeah, it's that one because they just don't work.
Yeah, like, I know the mission givers are just like NPCs in the Star Citizen universe, but I don't know like what you guys out there think of that are watching the show live or are going to be watching it on YouTube. But mission givers are very cool.
Yeah, they sound very cool.
Yeah, like you go to them, they talk to you, they provide you with these missions. I find them to be very interesting. They're all kind of unique, and like getting to them are these, you go through these interesting like tunnels and things like that for some of them. And their missions tend to be unique as well, which is cool.
That's what I like.
Yeah, and the idea of them working would be sick, and then the idea of them providing mission chains is also really cool. So, yeah, I mean, I asked that specifically because I think a lot of people might sleep on this update a little bit because of the fact that nobody uses mission givers now because they just don't work, right? So, hopefully that changes. What's the first thing you're gonna do in 3.12? Knowing this now, does this change your outlook on what you're excited for in the game? Like, obviously, me and Doc do a lot of mining together now. Like, we'll definitely do refining type of gameplay. But is this something that's like definitely on your checklist to be like, let's go try that stuff?
Yeah, it's somewhere. Yeah, it's on the thing that I want to try out in 3.12. It's like a checklist.
Who is on your checklist? Because there's a pretty vast group so far of mission givers. I'm curious, who's on everyone's checklist?
There's that Hurston one.
Clovis or the actual Hurston guy?
Yeah, the actual Hurston guy.
Constantine Hurston.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
He's got a cool, like, it's cool to how to get to him.
Yeah, he has like a whole office affair.
Yeah, that one's pretty neat. His I'm less interested in because his I think are mostly bounty missions.
Mm,
I can't remember what he provides.
I think the first one is like, it's like to this thing, and like I can't remember what it is exactly.
I think he started as bounties, and maybe they changed it. I can't remember.
Yeah, probably changed them to.
Yeah, I should have asked that of Jab as well. I was curious of what he would want to play, but I'm glad we got some.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eckhart's definitely the bounty guy.
Yeah.
But
Eckhart is the Arlington one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was a
That's
thing, right? That was a thing that was planned early on, or a few patches ago, was the Arlington bounty missions, right?
Yeah.
That you did those missions and you gradually led to killing an Idris. I wonder now, given the fact that the Idris is planned to be the final boss when assaulting a station, I wonder if the Arlington bounties are coming back, because they were a thing that was planned and ended up just not making it into a patch. I think it was like 3.10, 3.9, something like that. So maybe the Idris mission comes back. Yeah. Sweet. Any other? What's your second mission giver? Because I'm not gonna lie, Doc. I think you picked the most boring guy.
Okay. I like the Area 18 one. I don't even know.
Oh, Tisha Pacheco.
Oh, yeah, I don't really know half the his name. No, actually, Eddie Parr. That's the one I was interested in.
Oh yeah, and he's not in yet. But now that they have, now that they possibly have mission givers working, maybe they could start implementing more often. Eddie Parr's not in the game yet, is he?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that could be cool. For me, I think Tisha Pacheco's probably the coolest one. And then second is tougher. The Levski. What is her name? She's got the metal leg. Because hers were like mining type missions. Like it was like, go collect this ore and sell it at this place. Oh, what was her name? Chat's gonna help me, I know. Rudo is excluded. Recco Battaglia. There we go. Recco Battaglia. Yeah, that one will be cool. Now, Doc, I know Doc wanted to talk about something else, maybe a little bit. Do you want to talk about that now, Doc? We talked a bit about it on stream today.
We talked a bit about it earlier at the start, but it's the MSR. I won't call it argument, but it's an argument at this rate.
It's drama. It's drama.
Yeah. It's drama. Like the people on it, they're all like getting angry over not like having access to it. When if I had that ship, I would expect it to at least work before I had it.
Well, I think that's the point of giving it early to like Evocati people. And people complain about that all the time. Like, Evocati people are the quote-unquote like best testers in the game and provide a lot of feedback for things like that. The drama, though, is more that the streamers are getting it, right? Who don't actively test that much.
Yeah, that's but I don't know. This whole thing is just.
Yeah, we talked a bit about it earlier. I think my feelings on it are, I agree with that sentiment. I think if you paid for a ship, you should probably be privileged with the ability to test it as well. The problem is that if it is an Evocati first, like, you're not going to give Evocati to people who aren't in it just because they paid for the ship, right? But the idea of like the first wave PTU, like those people should have access to that ship.
Yeah, those people should have access because they test and they're
and streamers and YouTubers and content creators in general, they want things early so they can capitalize on hype.
Yeah, that's the thing I understand.
So like people do kind of have to understand that is the ability to capitalize on that hype and make content with it when it's worth it is pretty important. In my opinion, I think what they could do is it doesn't help streamers as much, but it certainly helps a YouTuber. Is you have access to the ship, but you're under NDA and you can't make the video until a certain date. So it's embargoed, is what it's called. I think they could possibly embargo that stuff. But I also think their current partner system is pretty basic, and they're working it out. And it's I understand people's sentiment about why they're upset about it. But Doc, is there anything else you want to add to that before I ask you? Is there anything else you want to add on the rep thing?
No, not really.
Okay. Cool, dude.
Like on the rep talk.
Okay.
There was some stuff about Elite.
Yes.
And I've actually had some time in Elite.
Elite is like very reputation based, right?
Yeah, it's very rep based. And like hearing stuff and that stuff. It's you have to make stuff to like at them higher. So if you want like something higher, then you have to
hold on, Doc. Let's start fresh a little bit with that because it was tough to get through. Let me try and figure out. So you have to take stuff to them.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it items or is it?
It's items, but not like cargo.
So so it's not like commodities like we have in Star Citizen. So I wouldn't take Laranite to them.
Yeah, you wouldn't do stuff like that.
Okay. But is it the same system as commodities? So I would buy engines and bring them to them?
And not engines, it's more like sort of like it's like engineered stuff.
Okay.
It's like thrusters almost and components off ships. So explode.
Okay. So
it's stuff like that.
So it's pretty in depth. So you have to go and find ships, blow them up, and take pieces off of them?
No, not like that because they drop items.
Okay.
It's like you scoop those up.
Okay.
And then those are what they're for.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, like engineering stuff.
I mean, yeah, I could see that in Star Citizen easily, dude. With salvaging, right? Like, bring me 5 Juno Star Walk power plants. Or
like
maybe. Because the whole thing is you could just buy those too.
You can just, That's just
yeah, I guess every reputation maybe can't be pay to win avoidable, but yeah. I wonder if there's like a special tag that they could do where it's like kill 10 we'll keep using the Ninetales example from the previous caller. 10 Ninetales because they engineer some kind of they tweak their weapons a certain way, and I want to check them out, right? I want to see how they do that. You could kind of do that. What about the one thing that nobody touched on too much yet is these NPC organizations. The fact that we can track some things with these don't exist in the game. There's no bounty guild. There's no mercenaries guild. There's no mining guild right now, right?
Interesting though. See, like you could do like hauling and stuff for like that. You could do hauling and then you could do more hauling and then you get, like extra rep.
Yeah.
Like skins almost for ships.
That'd be cool, right? Like if you know, I work for this faction or whatever. Like this, the mining guild offers these cool additions that you can put on to your ships. Like not even like beneficial ones, but like cosmetic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Kinda
cool. The thought of that.
Somebody in chat, NerdApp, said titles.
Titles, yeah.
That's a
Titles.
very classic MMO thing, is titles,
Yeah,
right?
that's a classic MMO thing. That's something that I've seen a lot.
Yeah. Well, all right, Doc. I guess we'll let you go. I appreciate your call, man, as always. And I'll see you in the verse in our ROCs, I'm sure.
And our MSRs.
Oh, and our MSRs, yeah, coming up. Pretty excited about that.
Because I'll have one soon.
Yes, for sure. All right, Doc. Have a great one, buddy.
Yep.
Talk to you soon. The one thing that I'd like to add on to the MSR thing, I saw somebody type in chat, like, the thing that I hated was that as soon as it came out, there was all these videos that YouTubers made about it. Yeah, of course, but like, don't click on them if you don't want to be spoiled. Like, the thing about Twitch streams is the spoil happens without you knowing it, but on YouTube, the spoil happens because you clicked on it, right? Like, Twitch is very difficult to know, like, all right, is he in a shit? Like, you could see a thumbnail, but he may be looking at something random or she, right? So it's a little bit difficult. But all right, let's bring in the next caller here. His name is Pakilla. What's up, man? Pakilla, are you there?
Yeah. What's up?
Nothing. Talk to me about rep, dude.
Okay, so reputation is a really good way to build a connection between player and the game world. There are many ways you can do that. You see, most of the game do it in physical way, like you can pick up stuff, you can chop down tree, right? You
Sure.
can manipulate the world. Or economic way, like you can buy stuff, earn money, or housing, such like that. And reputation is an extra fine layer where you can build a connection between you and NPC or faction in this game.
Yeah.
We see game like a freelancer where you do mission and you can improve your relationship with that particular faction, right? Or maybe you are homing with this guy, so that faction hate you, so they will kill you on sight. Most things like that. Or in Fallout 4, if you be friend with Brotherhood of Steel, you are enemy of the scientist, so you can get access to a resource. Those reputation in games are mostly with big entities. What I like to see Star Citizen do is more person-to-person reputation. So like Mass Effect 2, you see, you can improve reputation too, but those effects are represents on person-to-person, like you are good with this body instead of affection. More connection between player happen is NPC to you instead of affection, like a Huston dynamic to you. I give you an example and you can see the difference. Okay, so you have a good reputation with Huston dynamic, right?
Sure.
They give you a discount.
Awesome.
Does this sound fun to you?
Yeah, but it's not like I'm not gonna PogChamp about it, you know?
Yeah, there's nothing to PogChamp about. Now, imagine this. You are a girlfriend with an air traffic control guy, all right? Maybe you buy him a drink in a bar or something,
Yeah.
and he's a friend with you. Okay, now, let's say you have a very bad reputation with the ARCOP, right?
Yeah.
But you have a very good reputation with this particular air traffic control guy, and you know he has a job shift at Monday, 1 a.m. to 5 p.m. So, if you want to sneak into ARCOP, what do?
I wait till I call him.
Yeah, this guy, despite he being a part of ARCOP, he's an individual reputation of his own reputation toward you. So you can explode this guy. You can do social engineering. Just a lot of again like to do this big fashion thing, like, hey, you are a girlfriend with Akko, then you're a girlfriend with my husband dynamic. But it's hard to deal with any connection or feeling toward those big corporation. I mean, when is the last time you care about fucking husband dynamic?
No, nobody likes Hurston Dynamics.
Yeah, but if you got to be a girlfriend with some guy walking on around the stage like a god on a hanger or something, they can be social engineer. They can be explode.
That is cool. And the thing, like I asked earlier, like how can Star Citizen break the mold of Reputation to the first caller? And I think this is kind of the way, right? Like they have these NPCs that live these lives and do these things, and they're constantly being simulated. If you can build like these kind of social little rep with those NPCs, that's a lot to manage. Do you think that
yes,
that's
the
possible?
complexities. It's a very complex system, but the problem is how do you build it in a way that it's not too simple, too repetitive,
Yeah.
but also at the scale of Star Citizen. One thing I would like to add is something like a trade system. Have you played Things before?
No.
Okay, then you will be. You know any game with a trade system in there? Like this certain guy can be greedy, or certain guy can be loyal to his own faction or something.
Okay.
So when you introduce this variation to the NPC, then the social engineering become more complex and more variety is introduced into the system.
Okay. So like.
So potentially, when you walk into Arco, I let you speak first. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure I understand. So games like when you're trading with an NPC where you have like charisma and you can get them, is that what you mean? Where you can get them to like lower their price because you have higher charisma?
That's more like a global thing. That's a reputation at global scale.
Okay.
I'm talking about a memory between you and the NPC as an individual player.
Yeah.
Like when you go into a shop, he said, welcome back, right?
Yeah.
Because he remember you just walked in a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine how far deep can you take that?
Yeah. And that's where Star Citizen can have a big win or just be like everyone else.
Yes.
How much do you want how deep do you want them to go? Like how long do you want this game to take before it releases? Like that is the trade-offs that we have to kind of talk about nowadays. Like,
yeah, but
are they gonna make these trade-offs? You know? Like, are they prepared?
What did you say?
Are they prepared to make trade-offs, or are they just gonna perpetually like have this game sit in development forever? You know? Like for me,
I mean, it's a one-shot project for me. There will never be another Star Citizen, in my opinion.
Agreed. I don't think anybody would take this kind of gamble. I mean, it's nuts, right? What they're doing, and it's basically how far they can do with this subsumption AI thing.
Yeah, they have a lot of system with potential, but connecting them to each other is another problem.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting, but I think you're totally right. Is they can take Reputation from what you would see in like Skyrim or something to a whole nother level with this smaller scale individual kind of Reputation thing. What about what you say, but with these individual NPCs that like the mission givers? Is that good enough? Or because the whole thing is there, I don't see them being able to do this social engineering example that you shared right away, or not for a significant amount of time, right?
Right now the mission giver are more like factions. They just give you mission and grant you access to certain assets, something like that. Can they be unique enough and have? I don't know how they're gonna do it to reach that level of complexity. I just say.
I think the only uniqueness that they have would be their personality and the type of missions that they offer.
Yeah, and like I said, the air traffic control guy, when you social engineer him, suddenly you got smuggle gameplay in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what does mission giver give you? Perhaps they have special access to artifaction? Like this Ludo guy have a special passage into Arkham 2. Then, but now you can kind of centralize. It's not as unique as air traffic control guy, like a people. Now it's a person that you just go to because you know he can do this.
And everybody knows it's Rudo.
Yeah,
right?
so
that's when you have
like
the YouTube video that goes, if you want to do this, you go to Rudo, then you do these missions and you do this. But what you want is more, hey, you don't have access to ArcCorp or XYZ, try going to these areas and interacting with some NPCs and see if you can manipulate them. It's more it's more dynamic and less linear, static, go here, do this.
And to take this even further, you know, NPC can change job, right? Tony
Sure.
gave us a lot of example.
Yep.
Maybe he's working air traffic control only these 2 weeks. And the next month he's working on a McDonald's or something, and suddenly it's not useful to you anymore.
Yeah.
So you have to continuously doing this social engineering, and that's good, right? Because when you walk into Arco, every single NPC can be a potential valuable asset to you.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, but I only can hear the theorycrafting, so yeah, I'm done.
It is theory crafting, but at the same time, what you're saying falls in line with what they intend. Very much so, with the NPCs having these jobs. Like, are they putting all this time and energy in to have NPCs just walk around and seem like they're alive, or do they want us to actually interact with them? Right? Like, I don't want them to spend all this time and energy giving these NPCs these 24-hour life cycles and simulating all this crap if there's not a tangible reason for it other than it just looks
they
cool.
already did the simulation. Why not just take it a little bit further?
That's Star Citizen, man. Why not just take it a little bit further, right?
Yeah, fuck it. I only spend 8 years. I don't give a fuck anymore.
It's true. We've already been watching it. Like, what's 8 more? All right. All right, Paul Killa. I guess we'll let you go. That was a fun call. I appreciate it, man.
All right. See ya.
I thought you were just gonna troll me.
Yeah, I kind of want to, but I restrict myself.
Thank you again, Paul Killa. For those of you guys that don't know, every time I get into Discord to play with other people in Star Citizen, Paul Killa comes in and he just goes, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Oh, are you joining us?" And he goes, "No." So I assumed it was going to be something like that. And he even started off with like not talking right away because maybe he was muted or something. So yeah, I thought that's what was going on there. All right, I'm gonna bring in Beefy Joe, the next caller, and then while I'm doing that, I'll look for any tweets that you guys may have made. Okay. Beefy, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. Yeah. Sunday. I got my coffee.
Nice.
I'm in the cat. About to do some trading. So.
Did you buy that cat with real money?
No. I joined the best org, 30K Inc. And I was grinding for a while, but we got a cat. It's a beautiful cat.
We
best
did.
Cat.
That's right. Only the greatest. Yep. Only the greatest.
Only the best cats.
So, what do you think about the post and like starting out with like the kind of basic reputation stuff that they're showing us here, some positive, negative feedback from these guys, and then maybe we'll dive into some more theory crafty stuff.
Yeah, so the post, although exciting, reputation's going to be huge, especially the way they describe it. Like the way they're describing it, where you go to the mission giver actually remembers you. Like just that foundational tech is so important to the game that we want, or I would assume most people want.
You want to know what's funny?
What?
That's been there forever. It just didn't work.
Yeah, no, I know, because when I first started the game, I was like, oh, mission
Rudo
givers.
did that
cool.
for
I
a
actually
patch.
have to go to this person and talk to them,
Yep.
but then it was broken when I did it, so
Rudo
I never
remembered you.
Yeah.
Rudo had a mission chain, but it was super sporadic, and it only worked for a short time.
So this is stuff that they had just removed and put on the back burner and started working
I think it was
again?
stuff that just bugged out completely, but now they're fixing and then building the proper framework for it to
make it work with Quanta,
to really make it work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the idea of NPC organizations were not a thing at that time, right? Mission chains, they've talked about mission chains from the day they talked about, I believe, from the day they talked about Miles Eckard. So before Miles ever was in the game, they showed this web of, okay, I did this mission, I succeeded, I move into this tree. But if I fail, then I move down this way, right? So they've been showing that kind of thing for years now. But the idea of it all starting to tie together and them to actually say, okay, we're building the system and we plan on extending it.
And it's just really cool, to see it coming soon. I thought this would be much later down the line, but if they get these NPCs working, I mean, this is gonna demonstrate new rep system, subsumption working. I would assume, right? Because they'll have to remember you and change their responses and all that, and and maybe tying in new loot, because if I read this right, there's gonna be new missions, like new threads that are gonna show up from these.
Maybe. I don't know. Additionally, mission threads that have varying degrees of difficulty have been converted over to use the new system to unlock the next tier of missions. I don't know if that means new, like brand new, never seen missions before, but tougher ships to fight against, or maybe more boxes to pick up, something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's still exciting to get some variety in the missions, like actually based on what you've done.
Yeah, like imagine grinding CS 1, 2, and 3 bounties because all you have is a Mustang Alpha. It's brutal. So if you're able to,
that's like one of the reasons why I first opened up my wallet and started throwing money. But
yeah, I always wondered if that was a conscious decision by them. I don't necessarily think it is, but it certainly worked in their favor, right? To just not have a starter player experience at all. Therefore, everybody just wants to skip and go right to the mid to end game experience, like Caterpillar, Cutlass, Carrick,
Yeah, I mean, as we've talked
Prospector.
about before, it's just the starter experience is so broken. It's not scaled correctly with, it's no good.
Nope.
If it's intentional or not, who knows? But
but this system could.
I'm really
earlier,
excited
I think it
for
could
this.
Eventually resolve that, but I think it's a big eventually. I don't think it's something that's on their mind right now, and I don't know how much it should be necessarily. It's all about figuring out how you want the game to play, and then you can place the gates wherever and tweak, but having the system just function is a thing.
Yeah.
One thing I'm curious about, since we play games together a lot, that nobody's mentioned, is group reputation. Every reputation is incredibly, Star Citizen is trying very hard to not be a solo game. We have all of these ships that are multi-crew, and yeah, you could solo them, you could buy NPCs, but everything about soloing a multi-crew ship has all these costs and additional negative things that are added to it. Nobody will be as good as having players in your ship, so on and so forth, all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you think reputation can play in when being in a multi-crew scenario? Is it just reputation is shared amongst all the players in the ship, super simple like that, or is there anything like more complicated that comes to mind?
Oh man. Well, like I think a player reputation system would be.
You mean between
Well,
players, like between you and I?
Well, yeah, like sort of taking that. I don't know if it's even the same system, but yeah, like if I was, a goofball and I like, smashed your ship, like I'd like leave like, bad pilot or something like that.
Yeah.
Like on the, I don't know.
You want to know something that was like pretty interesting about Eco, which is a game that we had have a server for still.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved the rep system in Eco. It was so funny.
I'd like to utilize it a little bit more the next time we play. Is basically you provide missions essentially for players, and on a contract board, and you can offer a certain number of reputation for you yourself, as well as like money, and I think you can also get like some experience type rewards as well. I think that individual rep is kind of cool because then, based on certain titles, I guess, and rep that you provide between players, you can allow access for people of a certain rep to your ships, for example, your outpost, so on and so forth. Those people can have access to those things, and that can get kind of interesting. So it's a simple little rep system, but it can get interesting.
Yeah, the imagine is deep.
Yeah, of course. This is a very imagined show. We need to do it occasionally, okay?
Of course.
This show is very.
No, it's good. I like this. These kind of calls. Like, as much as we joke about, imagine it's the game is coming together, and this reputation thing is another key step that we need. Like it's so integral to the expansive experiential MMO game.
Yeah.
Like, just going to your contract manager and your Mobiglass is so gross. It's so outdated.
It's demoralizing.
Yes. Yeah, like
it's demoralizing.
I want every mission to have a mission giver, and this tech will make it so they can, for a while they'll probably be like the same Joe Schmo at every single outpost with the same script, but this provides the technology for them to make unique NPCs with unique voice lines.
Yep.
And make all those missions in the mission tab like in world, which I think is huge. It's what like we'd want to go to POIs and talk to NPCs and have that be the experience instead of just F1, go to my contract manager, like the game feels like it's in the Mobiglass most of the time.
Yes. And you know what's really sad is that the lore team for every mission writes up these things. Have you ever read those other than maybe once?
I have not read the lore stuff.
Well,
when I was playing WoW, I was really into the lore for WoW.
Hold on. Not lore. I'm not talking about lore.
Oh.
I mean the writers, the writing team, for every mission that you do, when you are going to accept the mission in the Mobiglass, is like the actual like written description of it. I'm asking if you ever read that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like it's a script, right?
Sure, but like you read it like once, and then you never read it again because you did the same mission over and over again. The idea of interacting with the NPC is a lot more, you feel a lot more in-world, right?
Yes, definitely.
Instead of
Yeah, like
reading
if I pull
emails.
this up right now, I just see UDM local delivery route. Like I know exactly, what that's going to be, or this
Yeah.
investigation. Like yeah,
But you're
yeah,
not
like
reading
NPCs would
into it,
just,
and it's not
yeah,
bringing you into the world as much as an NPC talking to you would.
definitely.
Yeah. Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
so.
Anything
Yeah.
that gets mission givers working better or working at all is a good thing. So I think for 312, I think that's like the hope, is that you go to mission givers and they're just not horrendous. They might not work great,
Yep.
but let's like cross our fingers and they work okay. And then like everything else to be excited is for what the future may bring, rather
Well, they
than
are there are server client optimizations coming very soon, right? Like in the next patch.
I don't know.
Yeah, I forget if I read that somewhere, or if I'm just hallucinating. Too much Star Citizen.
Yeah.
right.
The whole thing is with that I think what they said is that they're going to remove that stuff from the roadmap because they're constantly working on it. That's the only thing I remember, is that it was actually removed from the roadmap.
Well, server performance is a heck of a lot better now than it was in 310. So
Yeah.
let's hope it keeps going that way.
True. Well, all right, Beefy. We'll let you go, buddy. Thank you for your
Alrighty.
call.
Yeah, no, it was good talking to you, bud.
Yeah,
Peace out.
and you need to stop working so much so we can go grinding together more.
Yeah, me too. Unfortunately, it's getting to be that time of the year when I start to get real busy at work.
Yeah, man, me too.
So, yeah.
All right, brother. We'll
Alrighty,
talk to you
take care.
soon. Bye, bud. All right, there were no tweets, so we're going to bring in our next caller, Stray. What's up, Stray?
Hey, sir. Can you hear me?
I hear you great.
Cool. All right. Cool. Right. So I want to talk from the perspective of people not buying into the game and just rocking up to a mission giver and saying, here's a briefcase full of gold. I want all your very rare stuff that you're supposed to give away to people who work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Calling in from a cave? Is that me? No? Okay. Is the audio okay?
It's a little echoey. Don't worry about it. Don't read chat. They're stupid.
All right. I'll turn. Oh, that's right. 1 second. Sorry. It is the settings on Discord are broadcasting out of my monitor, not my speakers, so it's probably acting all weird. Sorry about that. Try that now?
No, you're fine. It's just you're in a room that it probably has like a hard floor or something. Don't worry about it. It's
Okay,
fine.
sorry. All right.
Yeah, I totally
So,
hear you loud and clear. That's all that matters.
Okay, cool. I was thinking about in terms of the perspective for Star Citizen is like it's very pay to win, right, for ships and everything.
Absolutely.
Let me paint a scenario then. I am an NPC who is hard on times. I work for a big corporation and I want to make some extra money. And I want to sell some gear. I'm not going to just sell it to a random guy who's just coming off the street with a load of money. I want to do it with somebody I know.
Yeah.
Based off your conversations earlier where you were talking about maybe it's a friend of a friend or a group that I know of, or it's a person that I have past dealings with. Maybe he's done some legit missions for the corporation I'm with, but then over time, once I get to know him, then maybe I offer him more side jobs that aren't as legit because I know the guy's useful.
Sure.
I was thinking doing it that way, it would prevent people could pay to get to a certain level of reputation, but after that, there's no more paying real world cash to get more access to other skins and things like that.
Okay. I mean, I think that's okay. I think that's like a good middle ground for people that don't have a lot of time versus people that do.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because reputation can't pop into the game and just be like, put the brakes on for everybody and be like, well, nope. If you don't play 20 hours a week, you can't do anything, so.
Oh yeah, totally. And then like with people who are playing 20 hours a week, generally that's just grinding, right?
Yeah.
Like if I was part of the mob, as an example, and I was dealing with people coming in and doing missions for me, I'm not going to trust like a really big deal with the equivalent of a pizza delivery boy or something like that, right? you're going to want to trust people that take higher, more difficult missions over time. So just like the worry that other people are having about grinding. Oh, can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, headphones. You wouldn't want to be giving missions to somebody that repeatedly does the same level of mission all the time, right? You're going to be wanting somebody that escalates the difficulty of stuff over time.
Mm-hmm.
So inherently in there's like a risk factor, plus bringing into the fact of you could buy into a certain level. There was a comment in the article I was reading that you could lose reputation as well. And I think that's really good because you could really have a lot of money, buy in, but if you're not skilled, of course you're going to start bloody losing reputation with them. They're going to go like, this guy's a loser. He's got all the flashy stuff, but he can't actually back it up in terms of skill. So people that are actually skillful at the game will actually progress a lot more than people that are paying in.
Yeah. Like there has to be a point where bringing your really expensive ship that you paid hundreds of dollars for to a mission will eventually, you will hit that wall where the ship isn't going to win you every mission anymore. You probably will complete the first few tasks fairly easily, but then after that, when you start coming up to people shooting torpedoes at you or whatever, then I think it gets a little dicey, right? Where you can't anymore, and you have to play. You have to make friends. All right, start manning my turrets or something, right?
Yeah, like especially with adding friends and stuff like that. I think if you were sharing reputation, like I think the whole referral or sponsoring somebody, saying like I vouch for this guy. Yeah, that's probably a better way of describing it. I vouch for this guy. If that guy keeps messing up, it'll impact your own reputation as well with the different groups.
True.
So it may make you more careful whenever it's not guilds, right? It's corporations or whatever your clan is in Star Citizen. It'll make you.
I think there'll be guilds too, actually. But yeah.
Okay. So it would make you more selective potentially on terms of who you're bringing into your guild, and if they go interact with separate groups, that may actually cause you to kick somebody at your guild if they're terrible because they're actually making you look very bad.
Yeah.
That could have a cool knock-on effect.
And then, I mean, it's crazy, but you could see people trolling you. Like, hey, can you invite me to the org? And then they just troll you into...
Yeah, that could potentially actually kill like a streamer guild even, right? You could have people that come in that are just trolling, and could just decimate the entire reputation for a group.
Which is something that they want, like they always talked about when it came to orgs, that they wanted that espionage aspect of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as horrible as that would be for me, I think that is a cool element of things that you bring up there.
Oh, totally. It's just that thing is very like maybe some people are part of your guild, but there may be the vouching systems layered on top of it, saying just because you're part of a guild doesn't mean that you're amazing. Like you're a guy that works at McDonald's. It doesn't mean that McDonald's sponsors you saying you're as good as like their vice president or something like that to go talk to other groups.
Yeah.
You need to get vouched and like level up and all that kind of stuff before you get an endorsement, I guess. And the last part for me, and there's another guy for the call as well, is when Pat Killer was talking about having different NPCs being able to have reputation or remember you for reputation and stuff. Like with the Quanta system, each one of those NPCs would have unique IDs and stuff. The main problem is storing the information about each one of us as individual players and how
with that individual NPC. It's like, whoa.
You've got like an end scaling problem. So for one player, depending on how many NPCs are in the world that you can interact with, you have to like do multiplication of that, right? Of how many different chunks of information you have to gather. But the underlying system should be there because an NPC is just going right now, I'm going to check my database, I'm going to check the number value that I have for you, and then maybe some records of your past deeds that you've done, and I'm going to talk to you on that. Like that could be used for every single NPC there is. But yeah, the whole problem is we're all getting used to these NPCs that have got really nice animations. It's too much of a labor really to get every NPC to be as reactive, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I was like, man, such a cool idea, but do we think it could happen?
I personally don't think so. Like
me neither, but I think they're gonna try.
Oh yeah, they'll try, but like
Yeah.
it's the same. Planets are probably easier now than the NPCs if they're trying to automatically make them, right?
Yep.
And like they're still taking a long time to generate those. So it'd be really cool to have it, but I don't know. I don't realistically see it happen. Like I've backing the game since it started.
Yeah.
My life's completely changed with how much is going on, and like the progress in the game is great and all, but like I thought I'd be done by now. Like I've worked on like 6 different companies since that thing started.
You and me both, brother. You and me both.
But no, it'll be cool. The rep system, there's a lot of potential in there. But yeah, it'll just don't make it like World of Warcraft or something where it's just, hey, just grind this thing and you'll eventually get to Exalted Champion, even though you really didn't do something to say that you're Exalted Champion.
Yeah.
You're a guy that basically clocked in every day and didn't do much more than that. That's really, right?
Yeah.
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 All right, cool.
All right, Stray, be good, buddy. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, chat to you later.
Later,
Bye.
dude. Bye. All right, so before we jump into the next caller, there actually was a tweet. I don't know why I didn't see it when I checked my notifications before Stray, but we have one from Rainwalker. So, Rainwalker says, but it's kind of not where we can see it very easily. So, there we go. Rainwalker says, if the reputation system means persistent missions between sessions, it will be a game changer, going from delivering boxes around a planet for pennies to delivering larger amount of boxes around a solar system with higher pay would make me play Star Citizen on a daily basis. Yes, but there has to be something else that ties in there a little bit. There has to be a reason for you to do that, right? So this is important because you want to have progression, but why are you grinding is the question here. Is like what we talked about earlier, where the game can give you certain items. Maybe they can provide you with a rental ship to use. So all sorts of things like that, right? So yes, I agree, but at the same time, why are you doing it, right? You don't want to just see your reputation be exalted like people are saying. That's kind of boring. It's more of the, I'm grinding this rep to earn my next spaceship or to earn an item that I get at the end of that quest line or so on and so forth, right? All right, let's bring in our resident memer, IDDKFA, coming in right now. What's up, IDD? Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. So I know we've had you on the show quite a bit in the past, and you do have some like game development background, at least as a casual or hobby type thing. But what do you think about this rep system here?
Make it clear, I'm not a professional game designer or whatever. It's like you said, just for and out of curiosity how various systems work in game dev. So on topic, reputation for me is very, very important because it's for me, if done right, it ties into world building and progression systems, like an organic progression system. Like I imagined reputation being implemented was like you boot up the game for the first time. It's released, lol, and they drop they drop you into area 18, for example, and now it's up to you. What do you want to do in the game? So you either go to something like a job center or the next bar, and
the bartender, right?
For example, yeah, and you have a conversation, and then you get asked questions. Hey, what you want to do? Like, do you have money? Do you have a job? And then you say, maybe I thought about being a miner, for example, and and he says, oh well, there's a mining office right around the corner. Maybe check it out. You go there, and he says, oh, do you have experience? And then you can say no, and that would lead you into like implemented tutorial.
Yeah.
To get used to mining, or you can say no, I have experience, and you can jump straight in. And he gives you really like missions. Hey, okay, you have experience. Let's collect some of the gems. I heard there's a mine out there. You can jump in there and earn a few bucks, and you gain reputation by doing missions for him. And he's more like a lower tier miner. And if you have enough reputation, he might say, well, kid, you're really great at your job, and your talents might be wasted here. Maybe go here. Here's that chick on Nix, and they're a larger mining organization, and you go there, and that
Tell her I
introduces
sent you,
to the world.
something like that, right?
Yeah. And this is an organic way to introduce you to the world. Like you go to the next place, and they say, well, we mainly do asteroid mining, so get kind of a tutorial if you want, so for that kind of stuff. But they also can tell, well, here's that outlaw organization, or like a group of outlaws. You should be careful not to piss them off, or whatever.
Yeah.
And now you get introduced to the dangers of your operation. Like I would see that kind of progression, because I think if you really want to specialize in mining, you really want to gain reputation with a mining organization, and move your way up the ranks through there.
Yeah.
And personally, I also think you shouldn't be able to buy random like mining mods from shops around the world. Like I think
I
that
think you
should
could,
be,
but it should be like going to Home Depot and getting a handheld saw, but not a industrial grade like that a contractor would have, right? Maybe he would have a rep that he would go to for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's why I said mods. Like the base tool that is manufactured somewhere and will be sold in various shops like Dumpers Depot or whatever. But I think modifications should probably only be obtained through reputation, because if you're like a large mining organization, yeah, you might buy the base components from a large manufacturer.
Yeah.
But you since you use the tools, you're more skilled in developing modifications to make the tool just better for a certain job, or in general, So I think that should be the incentive of gaining reputation for like a mining org.
That's cool. And yeah, I think it's the easiest way to quantify that too, because mining's the only thing that really works in the game. It gets a little tougher when you start trying to... It gets more imagine when we start talking about anything else, but it's very easy to imagine how mining could work. Because
to be honest,
works fairly well.
It's kind of could be kind of a blueprint for any profession.
Exactly.
Like if you're into mercenary stuff, you could go into a shady bar and talk to someone. Hey, I would like to make a quick buck. I have military experience. It says, well, here's that guy that pissed me really off. Go steal this and that from them.
Sure.
And I mean, you can then be introduced to Grimex that way, like working up the ranks again, no matter what profession you choose to to chase.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, like that you and Paul Killa both mentioned, is you want to have this connection to the game world, and you want reputation and missions to create that for you. It's telling a story without making the movie, right? Or writing the book. It's done by just simple interactions with people and places in the game that, maybe there'll be a little storyline of the like some lore chat from an NPC, but you learn more about the world that you're in, and you're brought more into it, and you feel connected to it, and I think that's super important, and that reputation can have a big part in that.
Absolutely, because when you think about how most games do it, you either choose your profession in the character screen, like when you create your character, or you are in game and you visit the local city, and you go to a like profession trainer, and voila, you're a miner now. Like, that's boring.
Yeah,
like
the
be part of the world.
Yeah, the idea that all you do is collect your ship and go out and do whatever you want now is kind of nice and freeing, but I don't feel connected with the game when doing it. I don't feel inspired. I don't feel like I do in other more polished, finished video games when I'm doing that. I feel like I'm mindlessly playing. It feels like a mindless grind, where those other things won't be, right?
Yeah, because it's
all the other examples.
Pretty much in an advanced prototype state.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
There's no connection. It's still pretty isolated, every gameplay feature.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks, IDD. I guess that's where we stop for today with you. But is there anything else you want to add before I let you go?
Just real quick.
Yeah.
To repeat what others mentioned as well.
Sure.
I don't want it to be tedious, grindish. Like it. Yeah, you should have some grind, like mine 5 rocks for me, but then move on and make it. Other games have like challenging modes where you have certain conditions, like either time conditions, or like you had with the Wendell mask, you can only use a certain ship, a certain loadout, and then the progression through reputation should get more challenging. So the reward, the feeling that you have earned your stuff is more prevalent.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. I like grindy games. Like, I like grinds, but it can't be. But I won't play Elite Dangerous.
Only grind.
I won't play Elite because all I see is it feels very mindless.
Well, it does, because you have like 50 million artificial reputations that have no real meaning to you.
Yeah, you're just watching a bar go up, right? Like, people are asking, like, can we see our rep with these people with a bar in the game? You do not want that. I think you want to have an idea of where you stand, but I don't think you want to watch a bar go up. It just feels so fake. Feels so gamified. I don't know.
Probably you need some kind of visual representation, but like you said, it shouldn't be a bar where you watch like your progress going up from 1 to 100 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, all right, IDD. Thank you so much, my brother. And I guess until next time.
Until next time, imagine.
Imagine. Next time we imagine. I can't wait to see you here.
We imagine even more.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, see you, buddy.
We do have a tweet, so let's bring that in. This one is from Krav. And Krav says, the rep system also has the potential to be a balancing factor in the game. Less pay to win, or pay whatever you want to call it. For example, you need to have a certain reputation if you want to buy a component for your Kraken or whatever. Similar to Tarkov, you can't buy all the weapons and mods day one. You need to be X level and have reputation with the vendor in order to buy new stuff. Agreed. I like the way Tarkov does it. I think it's a little simple. But yeah, it probably should be that simple, right? Not everything needs to be complicated. I agree with that wholeheartedly, 100%. Not everything needs to be that complicated, and very much so, Tarkov is like the simplistic version of mission givers in Star Citizen, right? A very simple version of that. All right, let's go ahead and bring in our next caller, Nithlack, I think it is. Nithlack. I'm gonna have to check when I bring them in here. Here we go. Nithlack, welcome. Did I get the name right? Nithlack? Nyathalak?
Nyathalak.
Nyathalak. There we go.
Not a lot of people get it right. So
yeah, it's a tough one. It's a cool name though. It sounds like a dinosaur or something. It's like an ancient animal.
Oh, it's more like an orc warlock.
Ah, an orc warlock.
Yeah.
All right, so you don't like all these people pooping on your World of Warcraft then, I guess.
Actually, I don't like the reputation system in World of Warcraft.
Okay.
I think it's too grindy.
Gotcha.
And I kind of like the thing they're going for actually here in Star Citizen. It's so one of the things that I really like is they have this sort of rating and with the service beacons you can rate people.
Yeah, nobody mentioned that yet. Well, sort of loosely, but not really.
Yeah, but basically I think they're going to take that and they're going to sort of have that applied to the mission givers. So I think based on your performance you're going to get a rating. I don't think they're going to show the rating. I think it's going to be hidden.
I like that.
Yeah. So essentially, if you perform, so let's say you go through the chain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your average rating is 3.9 or something. So it's above 3 or 2.5.
Sure.
Which is needed for unlocking the next step. So I think that's how they're going to do it in the background. I don't think they're going to show that.
Yeah, maybe they could be like, I'd like to do more missions with you, but I don't quite trust you yet. Like, have the player say something, right? Or the NPC say something.
And then maybe give you the same missions over again until you've sort of dragged your passive hidden rating above a certain threshold.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they'll start giving you some good feedback. That's what I drew from the update. I think that's going to be more performance related.
Okay.
And then you're going to have a more grindy sort of faction with the major factions.
Okay.
So you have probably like the UE advocacy. I think you're going to get like you have to sort of do a lot of missions and you have to have the same rating system, but you have to do a lot more missions than when you're talking to a person like Eckhart. So and that's where I think the real big rewards are going to be when it comes to like unique things like paint jobs, NPC hirelings, different kinds of modularity for your ship,
What would be the craziest? Nobody really mentioned this. What about earning rep with a planet? Well, I guess Palkilla did. And that rep opens up land that you could buy.
On that would be really cool.
Right? Like there's desired land, like waterfront property. I don't know if we'll ever have, our own shops or anything like that, but you obviously would want your shop in a high traffic area, right? What if you built rep with a station and then instead of it always just being a food court, it can be a shop that you sell your tweaked mining lasers or something, right?
I think so, and I think the planets or these areas, they can act just like factions, you know.
Yeah.
And I hope what I really hope about those is that they tie them together. So you have essentially, if you have a pirate faction you're gaining reputation with, you're going to lose reputation with the advocacy.
Yep.
You know.
No.
And you know, if you gain reputation with maybe Crusader, you gain some with, you know, in general in Stanton, and you lose some with the sort of Stanton pirates.
Yeah.
But that's the obvious stuff. I think what excites me more is the PvP side of it all. I think the
Explain.
org. So I think, well, you have the in the form of PvP, you have the service beacons, right?
Yeah.
Where you have basically you can rate other players. That's a form of reputation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's also going to be the most interesting is the org versus org sort of rating and reputation. So if your org you kill somebody from another org, you gain reputation
With the
your
orgs
org.
that they're warring with.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
And then basically, if your org has put this org on hated, then you gain reputation with your own org, and you essentially lose reputation with their org, and then that's tied in back to your account and everything. And then I think also what they're going to do is based on what type of org you are, they're going to have different types of things you can do. So if you're a syndicate, I think if you're running more drugs, you're going to gain more reputation with your own org. Or if you're Fate, doing certain things will be good. Or if you're, you know, bounty hunter type of org, then I think maybe they can do it so that you can make different actions that are good and bad in accordance with the org, and then you can rise and go up and down in ranks, maybe. But that's something that the orgs will have to decide probably. But you can have some passive reputation. And what I really would like to see them do in that regard is take all of the rep you gain with your org will give your org rewards. So if your org sells the most amount of drugs in Stanton, let's say for a certain month, then maybe your org, sort of like a hidden leaderboard type of thing, gains certain reputations in Stanton that is exclusive to your org. So that way people in your org has a reason to build up their own reputation, but also a reason to build the org. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So everybody.
I would take it like you're making my imagine go wild with the idea of like orgs having control over certain stations that are producers of XYZ materials, and you wouldn't be allowed to have control over those stations unless you had certain rep with the area, the moon, the planet, the whatever, you know. Kind of cool.
Let's say your org sells the most drugs, then you get a 50% discount on drugs.
Yeah.
You know?
Or
something.
Even
bonuses.
You know, you probably don't produce the drugs, or you buy them from someone else, right? So you would have you would gain rep with the people that you're buying from, get cheaper discounts, but they also provide maybe protection, so you get better protection ships. You could go crazy, man.
And then I think Story Citizen, at the end of the day, is like a sandbox PvP. In many ways, it's like Eve.
Yeah.
So if you wanna really give people content that they won't
Sure.
just do in a week and get bored, you have to make it player versus player. You know,
Yes.
it has to be dynamic. It has to be this mining guild corporation is fighting against this other mining rival, and then you have these sort of rivalries and dynamic stories that the players themselves create, because they can't. This isn't like World of Warcraft where they can create so much content to give out every single year. You know, they aren't creating enough content
No.
to
We have to.
feed. Yeah.
They know
So-
it. That's why they say emerging gameplay all the time, because they know
Yeah.
they can't do it.
And the most important thing for them to do in the PU is really to build the tools for us to do that. And that's why I think the org versus org reputation system is what I think will really, really be the most successful thing, because you do a couple of missions with Eckhart and you go through it. You're not going to do that like 3 years down the road.
No.
That doesn't matter. You've already unlocked it maybe in the first 2 months, right? So
Yeah.
and they can't produce enough of that content to keep us satiated.
True. So we have to satiate ourselves. But all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it again. Nyathalak.
Yeah.
All right,
There you go.
Nyathalak. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it, man.
Yep.
And yeah, that was a nice talk. I like that you brought it into more of the how it applies to bigger groups rather than just individuals. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Talk
Thanks.
to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. We have a very, very special guest coming up next. And the reason he's so special is he worked at CIG not very long ago. So his name is Jerry. What's up, Jerry?
Hey Mike, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. This reputation stuff is really cool conversation, and
Yeah.
Nyathalak just then, and everyone's had some really cool points, so I wanted to get in. Obviously, I'm not going to really be talking too much about Star Citizen, all things
No,
considered,
but
but
I
I wanted
do-
to talk about
Before
way
you jump in, hold on.
rep-
Before you
yeah,
jump
go on.
in, I just want to let people know like what you did, who you are. That
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
sure,
thing.
sure.
So Jerry worked on the mission team with like Luke Presley and Elliot, who's in chat, that did like the delivery missions and the heat system. Like those are the more recent stuff that Elliot did. Jerry did the 890 jump mission and the Caterpillar
prison
mission. Yeah, the prison transport one. So those are Jerry's like most notable achievements. And he's moved on to another company like most game developers do. So no big deal. Jerry's wanted to come on the show and talk quite a few times about the subjects that we're talking about, but it's very difficult for a former game dev of the company to talk about elements that he likely had been working on. And this is kind of the first one where he's either able to be very macro and away from it or whatever. But yeah, so I appreciate you coming on, Jerry. And yeah,
No, it's no
you
problem.
now have
I've
the
got
floor. I apologize.
Yeah, I was going to say, chat knows I'm a bit of a yapper, but I have a few points that I wanted to go over.
Yeah.
And just kind of like the importance of a reputation system and how unisolated from the game it is, right? Because reputation systems ideally have an impact on everything. I think the hypothetical scenario Pakila mentioned before was really cool as a jumping on point. So we had this story of you go to a bar and there's you go with a friend of a friend, and he's this guy that runs the landing platforms for a space station. And then you buying some drinks and you build up your rep with him, and then he goes, "Oh well, I'm working on Monday, so I can get you on this pad that you're not supposed to go on Monday, right?"
Yeah.
Which is a really cool imagine theory crafting kind of thing.
Sure.
But following on from that is all the rest of the gameplay mechanics, right? So once you've built up that reputation and you've then landed, how do you get past the guards? Right, well, maybe you've got a fake ID, or maybe there's a vent that you can go through. Once you pass the guards, what do you do from there? And within all of that, there's multiple different systems. So you would need a conversation system, first of all, to speak to the guy at the bar. You would need maybe an interaction system with the security guards to show them that you've got this security pass so you can get through. Or you would need to do more stuff to the level design to create these passageways that you can sneak through.
Sure.
So intrinsically, a reputation system is never going to be just a reputation system. And I think that's something that's very important to highlight for people that maybe don't think about the wider scope of it. They just think, I'm going to do loads of missions and get this cool skin for a ship. And it's like, it can't ever just be that.
No.
Otherwise, it's going to be very obvious.
Yeah.
And like, going on from that, there's another big factor to take into consideration, which is how does your rep for one faction or person impact the others, right? So let's say hypothetically you have two warring gangs and you're working with one gang to take down the other one.
Sure.
The UEE security wouldn't know that you're taking part in these illegal activities, right? Because it's a gang v gang war. So how then do you decide if the UEEs or whoever is going to attack you? Let's say it's World of Warcraft, right? You're two warring elf factions that are fighting against each other. How is the Alliance security guards, the guys at the castle, going to know that you're trustworthy enough to get in there? Well, you would build up your rep with the Alliance, and then they wouldn't know what you've been doing elsewhere. But then this also ties in again systemically to other people's interactions with the game world. So what if the Alliance had a spy that knew what you were doing in this gang war and then reported back? There's all these different intrinsic things that need to connect together to make it feel like a living, breathing world.
Yeah.
Another kind of theory crafting thing, right, is let's say you are working as a spy for one faction and you are secretly on another one, and you start having to kill people that are part of the faction you're undercover for, right? Then once you've got the intel that you need and you have to go back to the base to give this intel, how do you go in there without people saying, hey, that's the person that just killed 50 of our guys?
Yeah.
Do you have some kind of outfit system that you can dress up as like a doctor, like in some games, like in Hitman, where you steal a disguise so that you can go in? There's all these other factors that have to play into a reputation system to really make it feel alive.
I'll just wear my Vandal mask that I got for killing all 50 of them.
Just wear your Vandal masks, right? So there's so many other aspects of game development that go into a reputation system. I mean, I play a lot of single player games that have those in, and they do it very isolated, right? So when you think about a game like Mass Effect, it has a quote-unquote reputation system in a few different ways. There's you're a good guy, you're a bad guy, and then there's the reputation that you earn with the specific AI. Now, let's say the Krogans, right? So in Mass Effect 2, you build up reputation with a child Krogan.
Whoa, spoilers, dude.
Spoilers, 12, 15-year-old game. Sorry, guys. I know the remaster's coming out soon. And then you go to like the Krogan homeworld and you talk about the Genophage and how you've tracked this Krogan child impacts this mission. But it only impacts that mission because it's not that open world. When you go to a space station, it's not Krogans there going, hey, that's the guy that looked after this kid that we all care about.
Do you know the most disappointing thing about that entire series was that you did all that stuff to build up the rep with those people so they fought with you at the end. And it was the most disappointing climax because you never really...
Yeah. We'll not get into that because I know people will get annoyed in chat because everyone's still butthurt over that.
But that's where Rep could have won out, and it just didn't.
Yeah, that is where Rep could have won out. So, but I think someone mentioned it previously, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have these like faction and org rep. You should have it specifically with AI." Yeah. And I think intrinsically you need both, right? Because if you have a reputation for the guild leader or the org leader, their underlings and the people that are around there need to react to you based off what you've done.
Yeah.
So it's just something that I say the biggest takeaway is probably that, a rep system has to work with other systems. It can't just be rep. Otherwise, it's never going to live up to its potential. I think Knifelack kind of crushed it with the PvP or stuff, going all hypothetical on that.
Yeah,
and another thing
was
to
cool.
take away. Another thing to take away is the importance of front-facing information for a player, right? So if you go to a bounty hunter, let's say there's a bounty hunter guild in some hypothetical space game, and the leader of it, Jango Fett, Boba Fett, whoever it is, and you've done loads of missions for them and built it up and up, how are you showing that to the player? Is it a bar on a screen? Like, that doesn't look good. How much does this person like me? This person likes me 30
How would
out
you
of
do
40.
it? Because I know how I would do it, and it's very Chris Roberts how I would do it.
I would do it mostly just through speech and world interaction if I was going to do anything like that. Like
I would do it with a kill board or a bounty board. Like
But again, that's just for bounty hunters, though. What about the traders? What about everyone else? How are you going to make it work for every single person?
Does it have to be the same? Just specifically for bounties, Chris Roberts, like in all of his previous games, had a kill leaderboard for his Wing Commander games. So, like I'm just saying specifically for that, nostalgia purposes, that kind of thing. But yeah, for the other stuff, it's a lot more complicated, I think. And you would just do it with speech would be a lot better.
Exactly. I'm very against the idea of having UI for rep. Like, I feel like it brings you out of the game world. It doesn't make you feel like you're really involved. So that's again, but that just ties into the fact that there are so many other systems that tie into reputation systems in order for it to work really well, that it can't just be, here's a reputation system.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a game that does it quite good, I think, but not so much on the UI standpoint, is The Outer Worlds, which again is a single player game where as you go and do missions for these like main leaders of the towns, the people in the town will react to you. And then when you go to vending machines, the vending machines prices will change based on your standings with different factions.
I still need to play that game.
Dude, it's really good. Especially in terms of reputation.
Okay.
And someone mentioned about rep going down or losing it. My stance personally is that rep shouldn't go down, but reliability should be a factor, right? Because if you've done all these amazing things for like a bounty hunter guild, you've gone and killed the
gameplay.
I'm just referencing Mandalorian because I've been watching it. Sorry, spoilers. I probably shouldn't have said that, but oh well. I'm going to get a lot of hate. My bad. And then you carry, am I still on the call? Yeah, I'm still on the call. And then you carry on.
He was checking to see if I booted him.
I thought you might have kicked me. And you go and kill all these things. The people aren't going to be like, oh well, he hasn't been around for a while, so we hate him anymore, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you haven't gone and done these quests for quite some time, or you've ignored them when they've called out for help. That should be a factor into reputation. It's like, well, you've not really been very reliable to us, so why would we offer you all these big reward things when there's other people that are here helping us when they need us most?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So,
I like it, and I like that you come from like the game developer standpoint of it's just not that simple. There's all these other things you have to do,
Everyone goes, oh, just do this. It's like, you can't just do this without this affecting this, and this.
Jerry, just finish the game already, right?
Just finish.
Listen, if Luke just had one more designer, the game would be done.
The game would be done. I think that's covered everything. But and just on top of it, just I guess to kind of end, I feel like with reputation systems, they work best when there's four types of reps, right? You've got your personal reputation with a single AI, and then your personal reputation with the organization that AI stands for.
Okay.
And then your clan's organization with a single AI, and then a clan's organization with that faction. If you can hit all four of those marks, you open up a lot of possibilities for systemic design in terms of what should be available to a player and what shouldn't.
Yeah.
And then you could be like, it's like, well, if one guy from your clan goes to this mission giver, and as soon as they walk in the town, they're like, what are you doing here? you're part of the guild that ruined us, like, because a few of your guys like did an attack on the village. That sort of stuff is really interesting and is really where reputation systems can shine. But it's hard to do because it touches every other aspect of a game when you're thinking about that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Well, all right, Jerry. I think that's a really sweet way to end the show, man. I appreciate it.
I'm really sorry about the Mandalorian spoiler. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. That's my bad.
It's all right. I'll.
You should be watching it week by week because it's amazing.
Yeah, I'll probably just like mute it for the YouTube video.
All right, cool, man. I feel like that was good. We didn't do anything naughty, and we had a really cool chat about rep.
Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully we can do it again in the future because it's nice to have game developers. More importantly, game developers that understand what it's like to make Star Citizen. Right, a lot of games finish a lot quicker than SC does. So.
Elliot hates me already. Screw you, yeah. Elliot. You didn't come to the pub with me the other weekend. Now you've got a girlfriend, so I don't care.
All right, Jerry. Right. I'm gonna let you go.
Take it easy, man.
Be good, buddy.
Laters.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Another Answer the Call in the books. I hope you guys enjoyed it. A very cool show. I was thinking about, man, I was really bummed out that we didn't do a show last week, and I was just thinking about like what do we talk about? And this popped up, in Roadmap Roundup, and it was just like, let's theorycraft a little bit. Let's have some fun. We don't always have to be so serious about everything, and it feels really good to not have to be critical about the game and or not want to talk so deeply about it, but more just imagine what it might be, what the system could be in the future, and it's nice. So I appreciate it. And it was also very cool to have a former dev on the show that can explain kind of the thought process and on how these things get developed and how in depth they are. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you haven't, make sure you hit the like button. Comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on Twitch and you didn't catch all of it, it will be up on YouTube later on in the day. Usually takes me about 4 or 5 hours to get it up there. So, guys, thanks again. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.